On the timer? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So here we've got to try and grab that one, and that was probably, and in order to do that, that's probably about as quickly as you can do it. The fastest way to do that is actually to despawn bullets. That was the secret passage. This board is pretty nasty, but fortunately we have this trick called practice. That one was just me being a bit of a doofus and running into a bullet. This board is probably my least favourite in this part, because you got to get rid of that guy and your bullets aren't necessarily going to be nicely in phase. So this is the first boss for the magma world. So that's the first phase of it. And yeah, alright, so the second phase we've got to deal with the RNG. So this boss can pop up in a minimum of 5 splashes, and there's 2 possible cycles. And this seems to be a little bit slow at the moment, but fortunately we're not getting the optimal RNG, which you think, okay, optimal sounds good. Not if you're trying to actually grab this thing at the end. So that's actually the best RNG we can get there, which is the best RNG that a human can sanely get, which is 9. Or a human who doesn't want to have to try to practice doing a really horrible jump to grab it if it gets stuck in the top left corner. Anyway, so now we've got this that ability, which I accidentally showed off. We'll use this for the next phase. Oh, sorry, the next world, which is the ice world. And seeing as we've finally gone through this world, we've got to go back through it, and so we're collecting all the ciphers. The general route for 100% is kind of dictated by where all the ciphers are. So you pretty much, there's not much variance you can do in terms of order. And I should probably point out the in-game time. So when the guy who made this, CJ, when he made this, he went on he assumed that the frame rate was, I think, 40 divided by 3 frames per second, and it's actually 20. So the in-game timer actually goes a bit faster than real time. And if you're wondering, like, oh, well, you're actually past 10 minutes, or you passed 15 minutes, hopefully this goes well, because if I go past 15 minutes, then it's a kind of alright run. If I go past 15 actual minutes, that would be terrible. This boss is a pain because it can potentially soft lock. We've got that didn't soft lock, so that's good. So we've got the thing is that boss can also damage itself, or that boss damages itself as well. I've looked at the code, it is a bug. And now we've got the ice ability. I can actually go up that quite quickly, but seem to have decided to go the easy way rather than actually try to get that one perfect. Nice, got that. If you don't time it right, you go down that a lot slower. So now we're on to the wing stage, and you get to see a little bit of the ice ability in action. Now, in theory, you would use the wing ability for this, but that means we don't have to backtrack. You can actually be cheap and use ice there, but you've actually got to wait to shoot all the ice. Oh yeah, this is the other thing that ice does. Works really well on those enemies. Doesn't work really well on the others, and I unfortunately forgot to show you why this part is a glitch. Being able to jump up there, it relies on the fact that in this game engine you want to in order to have any code running on it, you have to physically put it on the board, and these are 80 by 26 boards. It's an 80 by 25 display, so the bottom row is actually hidden, and that was a mistake, but it's alright. And so yeah, the way it detects you going down is based on the 26th row. Oh, forgot to set up, you know what, I'll show you the strat properly. So this is a new strat. First phase of this is generally terrible, but turns out you can actually cheese the first phase. Oh, dang on. Strat for that is to wait 2 real seconds and then start shooting. The second phase though, however, I've known how to cheese this for quite a while. So, in all honesty, that probably turns that boss into from like not the best boss into the best boss. You can get that one without dying. However, if you fail, you can at least have a go at trying to grab it on like a frame before you respawn, which, yeah, that's another developer intended shortcuts. And we're now going into the Mist world. As it turns out, in any percent, you don't have to go here at all. The ability is not required in order to get into the get to the final boss. Yeah, actually, in general, it's also a very difficult ability to control. You'll see it's being controlled very well in the task, though, so that should be good. And another great sign that this stage is generally terrible is everything's worse with bats, everything's worse with sharks. This is both. But this boss is the worst. 2 phases, and you can just get screwed over at any phase because the boss decides to spawn behind you or something like that. And fortunately, that is actually about as good as it gets. So thank you, RNG, as I just proceed to run into a bunch of sharks. Yep. Oh, I forgot to show you Mist. So Mist is useful if you wanted like a bit of extra horizontal speed at the expense of basically having no control. But you have to be in the air to take advantage of it. And that, I think it saves in theory a second for every board. Now I've got frame perfect, pixel perfect jump. Yep, sweet. I've actually practiced it a bit. So now we're about 11 in-game minutes in, or almost. So we're now entering into the final boss. And have I missed anything? Hopefully not. I'll check a little bit. I'll check when the water's rising on the final boss. Alright. Sometimes I make that jump over there. Oh, I did. Wow. Oh yeah, the other thing is about wing though, is wing gives you the ability to basically cheat death when it comes to these spikes. Because you just hold jump and you'll bounce off the spikes instead of impaling yourself on them. So now we're up to the final boss. Alright. That's the first phase done. And the second phase, like even without this cheese, this boss is not terribly bad unless he spawns like flagrantly behind you. That's actually pretty good for a sort of suboptimal thing. And hey, we may actually be on world record pace. Actually, we are. Yeah. On the other hand, like I do have like unofficial PBs that are better. I kind of want to get if I didn't screw up there, that may have been sub 13 time. So that's 13 time. Sorry. That in-game time is yeah, about like 13:11, I think. So that's actually pretty good. I'd love to get the VOD for that. So anyway, that's 100%, and now we get to enjoy some Linux for the moment. And we get to bring up the video and of the tasks. And so this is all bosses, so we don't need to collect any of the ciphers, and so
was that just world record?
I think that was just world record. Actually, that was just world record. That was also better than my unofficial PB. Whew. Okay, so next, so yeah, now we've got the test which you guys have generously donated to see, and I will be all right. Let's go on with it. This is this is all bosses. It gives you a lot more flexibility. Oh hey, the audio comes through. Nice. So I basically discovered this gets better as it goes along, because this was actually this is the first task I've ever finished of anything. And so a lot of what happens here is there's a lot of trying to bypass the key delay, because like there's sort of a key repeat thing, but there's a way to actually bypass it all. Here we're going straight for the mist boss first, because that's pretty much the theme of this task, is to just try to use mist as much as we can. So yeah, it's using a task tool called libtask. It requires Linux, and it's the one that's used for, I believe it's the tool that's used for Celeste. So yeah, and now we're sort of going out of here, and you will eventually see me use mist when I remember that I'm supposed to use it. And this is actually the opposite boss order to 100%, I believe. So what happens here? This strat is stupid, don't try it. That. Actually, this entire level is stupid, don't try it. And there we go, we're now up to the wing stage boss. And we don't have ice to cheese this, so there's not really much we can do. However, that is actually a pretty quick first stage. Now here we're just gonna do a little something. This is how the second phase kind of normally plays out. With one small difference. The boss doesn't always spawn in the same spot each time. Now there's this lovely music bug, and I can get this if I'm falling downwards. It's like when it transitions, the music fade out will sort of do this, except it's not what you're about to hear. If you spend less time than it is on the, if you spend less time than it takes to for the music to fade out, and you go to the next board and it needs to change music, then it will actually, it will actually start the fade out from the end, from the start again. And apparently we have a donation, so go ahead.
Quick donation from Liam, giving $5.61, saying, Matumba, get a CRT.
That's, thank you, Liam. That's very sound advice. Bit of advice, don't jump through these flames, don't do this board with mist. And then we get to also see what happens when you... Oh yeah, another thing. So you'll notice there's sort of like a fast stomp and a slow stomp. And as it turns, like I think I was assuming that the slow stomp was faster, but it seems the fast stomp is like you can get 2 hits in, whereas the slow stomp you can get 3, or it might have been 3 then 4. So you've got to kind of balance it out. I'm not actually sure which one's faster. I think it is the fast stomp that's faster though. And you may think I'm just showing off here, but what I'm actually doing is trying to, the jumps are for RNG minute. That's proof that it might not be possible to do a 1 cycle. And yeah, try grabbing that. Oh yeah, also I took a death and managed to walk off the board, and this results in a bug known as, which I called a death walk. It has a it's not just, you look like a block. It's also, every time you enter a board that you haven't visited and you're in a death walk state, the next time you'll note down that position. The next time you return to that board, the position where you entered it first will be solid. That makes it almost possible to beat this game without grabbing the wing ability. So that'd be only 2 bosses you need to fight, but unfortunately you need to climb a waterfall. This fight pretty much goes as usual, more or less, other than sort of sneak in there and you maintain key repeat. And you can use mist to grab that. Don't try that in an RTA run. And that's actually just another death walk. And as it turns out, you actually where you end up, it actually adopts the character of the graphic of what you stepped on, and that's is the run. That is.
You did that task for yourself?
Yeah, it took. I basically pushed myself to actually do it, to actually finish it off, and it took about 4 hours.